So, so we're talking about courage, leadership, commitment, and that's what we need to change things. In my lifetime, I've seen a lot of change. When we first started climbing, we'd go up on the rocks, the tooth up there in the Cascades, one of the first mountains. You climb up to the top, you have your lunch, okay, on the rock. The first climb, I'm looking down that exposure, I was terrified. Terrified. I'm on top of the mountain, terrified. I said, I made a vow, God, if you can get me off this mountain alive, I'll never climb again. 2 weeks later, I'm yeah, okay, that wasn't too bad. But you pick up, so you have your lunch, right? A little sandwich. We got juice cans back in those days. You'd throw the juice can off the cliff to hear it, how far it tinkled on the way down 1,000 feet. Boom, 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 boom. And then lunch, we'd scatter the orange peels and stuff. Okay, then we'd come back up and climb the mountain. We come around the other side. What the hell? What are all these cans doing at the base of the cliff? You know, that's how, you know, and then we'd have the lunch. We'd pick up a rock to put the bag. We're going to be environmental. Pick up the rock to hide the lunch sack, okay? You pick it up. What the hell? There's lunch sacks already there. So what do we do with REI? Okay, you pack it in, you're going to pack it out. You pack it in, you pack it out. So we started to pack it out. Little did we know, we'd not only be packing out garbage, we'd be packing out poop. Now in the mountains, you pack out the poop. Up on Rainier, you're going to pack out your poop. And it's cleaner than it was then. It's cleaner than it was then. So at REI, that was our motto. Pack it in. If you take it in, bring it out. Then the other thing, you're going up a trail, you're coming down that thing, man, we're a tough guy, we're going to cut that switchback, okay? You cut the switchback, what happens? Water starts running down the damn thing. The water comes down the switchback, and what the hell is wiping out our trail? Okay, we'll get smart. Education, huh? Don't cut the switchbacks. So you lay a log across the thing so nobody can cut the switchback. You see somebody cutting it? Hey, don't cut that switchback. Somebody's throwing out garbage now, don't throw out the garbage. The children are telling the adults, don't pollute the thing, so they're learning. The education is so important, to educate the people. The poor souls in the flat country don't know any better. We know what it's like. We know what the oceans are like and what the sound and so forth. We took our children out of school. We'd climb some mountain stuff. We sold our house, bought a sailboat. Diane and I took the children out. They were 11 and 13. 4 years. We sailed south from Port Townsend. You sail south until the butter melts, then you head west. The butter melted at Puerto Vallarta, and we went west. 4 years down into Tahiti, Bora Bora. God, beautiful country. Oh, it was so magnificent. The South Pacific. Children are growing up. They're learning to sail a boat, navigate, dive, everything. People said, well, you took them out of middle school? Don't you know how dangerous it is with the pirates out there? And we said, do you know how dangerous it is in middle school? We came back and they graduated from college. We came back and after 4 years, we thought we better get them back in. They graduated from college. Joss is working on a PhD at the UW in archaeology. Leif got a degree out of Western Washington in literature. He climbed Everest last year, and he's writing a book about it. And so the kids have learned all this stuff, and they're part of the planet. Enjoy the magic of this magical place. So we did there's a lot of things. I got to get you out of here so I can go to work. But we're going to play a little bit longer. We did a peace climb. We had a climb of Soviets, Chinese, and Americans. Can you imagine this? Before the wall came down, while there was a Cold War, we thought, what can we do for the good of this country and the world? Okay, what's the biggest threat? Nuclear destruction. So who can do that? Chinese, Soviets, and Americans. Let's get Chinese, Soviets, and Americans together, a summit on the summit. we'll take them to the highest point of Earth, stand on top. The Chinese, the Soviet, and American with their arms around each other on the highest point of Earth, demonstrating to the world what can be done through friendship and cooperation. We thought, oh man, that'd be good. I had a permit, 1990, from the Chinese, 20 years after Earth Day. Oh boy, what an opportunity. We'll stop war and we're going to clean the planet off from the top down. What a goal. We thought, could we do this? You know, what do they say? The wild and crazy dream is the first step toward reality. This was a wild and crazy dream, and we went for it. You couldn't believe it. We pulled this thing off. We pulled it off. We put 6 on the summit instead of just 3. 2 Soviets, 2 Chinese, and 2 Americans standing up there demonstrating what can be done. These were our enemies. These were people that we were going to try and kill. And to set this thing up, it's a long story. I can't go into it, but it's in my book. But it's a story about people that we couldn't even speak the language. Shatev, the Soviet guy, I brought him over to Rainier. The Chinese said, we don't know enough about climbing. We haven't had the advantages the Soviets and the Americans have had. I said, come on over, we'll bring you over to Rainier. We'll pay for it. They liked that. They came over, we're standing up on the mountain, the TV comes up, they're interviewing me. Jim, what's the first Russian you've learned? Niet problem, I say, niet problem. And then they go up to Shatev with the interpreter, and these are people we need interpreters to understand. To pull this off, they go to Shatev. Mr. Shatev, what's the first, through the interpreter, what's the first English you've learned? Shatev says, the weather sucks. We stood the first Soviet woman on the summit to climb Everest. She stood up there and said, I stand here for all the women in the world. Let there be no borders on this planet. Let us make a safe and clean world for our children and their children and their children and their children and their children. We translated, I was below, we translated the message that she'd said from radio on the summit, translated it, and Diane took it. We sent it out to Gorbachev, to Li Peng, and to Bush, the first Bush, and it was incredible. It went all around the world. I talked to President Bush. It went around the world. Katya went back to the Soviet Union, and Gorbachev gave her the highest award a civilian could get in the Soviet Union for what she did for world peace and the environment. It was just a wonderful thing. And talk about leadership. I'm sitting in Moscow with the Soviet leader and the Chinese leader. We had 10 people from each country, 5 climbers from each country, a woman from each country. So we had a total, besides the 5 climbers, we have the doctor, because we didn't want to get acupunctured. We had our own interpreter. So it ends up with 10 from each country, right? And so we're sitting there, the 3 leaders, and I say, okay, everything's set, and Shatev, through the interpreter, says, I'm not going to be a leader. I said, you're a leader like Gorbachev, Li Peng, and Bush, 3 leaders. And he said, no, must be only 1 leader. He didn't want to take the leadership role. I think he was afraid that we weren't going to pull the damn thing off. And so finally I'm sitting there, and this is education. The Soviet communists and the Chinese communists sit there and vote, and they vote me as the leader of the expedition. I thought, okay, we're educating the bastards. So anyway, we're up now in Port Townsend, Diane and I. We've got programs going up there to get children outside. And what we do is, we're a sailing town up there. We're right on the water, and there isn't a child under the 8th grade that will not have been on the water at least 3 weeks to a month, sailing, rowing, experiencing this magical Salish Sea, the Puget Sound. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. there'll be no child left inside. So the saying is that he who climbs the highest sees the farthest. Okay, I've been higher than most, and I want to say that looking down on the planet from up there, I see that in nature is the preservation of the world. And so that's what we believe in. When we came off of Everest, down into out of the death zone and into the thick air, you come down, you just feel the thicker air. And we came down, we're walking out, and I see the team has stopped on the trail in front of me. And I come up to them, I say, what is it? And they said, look, Jim, look at that. And we look down, and there's this blade of grass coming up out of the scree, this beautiful emerald green of grass that's growing there. We look at, oh my God. And the feeling we had looking at that grass, we're coming back into life, into this magical planet where the warmth of the air and the life and the people and the magic of life on the planet, the beauty, the natural beauty that we have. Tears were running down the cheeks of us tough old climbers looking at that little emerald blade of grass. So I want to salute all of you here that are working for the environment, especially pay tribute to the leaders that are going out there and fighting the good fight for us. We salute you for what you're doing to make this, protect this planet, to think long range, not just short term, and to go out and do what you think is best for the world, best for the people. So one final thing, just remember to keep your head on your shoulders, to get outside and play, go outside and play, and then finally educate the bastards. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. On behalf of the Board of Directors, thank you for being here today. Thank you for your commitment to Washington conservation voters. A special thanks to our breakfast sponsors and table captains. Have a great weekend, everyone, and don't forget to vote this year.